Hello, everybody. So, just a few days ago, as of the recording of this video, we just got revealed to us the brand new team for Marvel Tokon. That being the Fighting Avengers, comprised of Captain America, Iron Man, the Hulk, and the Black Panther. Now, this is really interesting stuff because Black Panther being in the game gives some soft confirmation to some spoilers we got some time ago, which we will be going over again here to kind of help us predict or potentially directly guess who exactly is coming next. Now, at the end of that trailer, there is a green flicker that happens, revealing some interesting information. Let's look at that image right now. So this is the green flicker that appears, revealing some interesting information. The first piece being Spider-Man's face is scratched out here. And on top of that, we have a couple of numbers. The first being at number 5 here, the other being these off to the side here, which many believe to read as 361, which you can kind of make out here. And then you have the hashtag symbol here and the green imagery representing Dr. Doom. You even have his mask here over in the corner. This provides us with some interesting information. First off, number 5 here, and with Spider-Man seemingly being the focus here, I believe it is Amazing Spider-Man issue number 5, and then you have the numbers 361. And what exactly does 361 mean? Well, issue number 361 of the Amazing Spider-Man was the first introduction of Carnage. And the way things are kind of displayed here, the scratch marks on the text, Spider-Man's face being scratched out, and the kind of erratic, crazy writing of 361 here, indicates a bit of insanity. And what better person that matches the number 361 to fit insanity other than Cletus Cassidy, also known as Carnage, the psychotic serial killer who became one of Spider-Man's most difficult villains. I think that's more than enough kind of evidence, and they don't seem to be being too shy about it with this Spider-Man's face being scratched out, and Carnage potentially being a member of Dr. Doom's team. Now, if this hashtag Dr. Doom is an indication that the villain team is next, who else would be on Doom's team? Well, if we think about it as if each villain kind of being an antagonist to one of these teams or their leaders, then who fits where? Well, Doom is a great antagonist for the Avengers. And we also have that a little bit more solidified in the comics, as well as with the upcoming film Avengers Doomsday, in which Doom is the prime antagonist for the next Avengers film. So that fits. Carnage obviously fits with Spider-Man. Not too difficult there, but what about the Uncanny X-Men? Well, that's where we get into some of the other spoilers that also soft confirmed Black Panther's appearance. Now, before I get into those, this is your chance to click off before we dive into some more spoilery things that potentially reveal most of the remaining characters. So if that's not something you want to stay and listen for, then it was nice having you around, and we'll catch you later after everybody has been revealed. But if you do want to go back over that, let's dive right in right now. Now, some time ago, we were provided with some interesting spoilers. And here are those exact spoilers that were accidentally released when posted on a website that was posting the game for pre-order. For Black Panther, our hint for that character was the fact that one of our stages was going to be Wakanda, which was officially confirmed in the most recent trailer. Now, if we take that into account and view it as these stages being hints for upcoming characters, that means that Wakanda was a blatant tease for Black Panther, who we also got, being the Shuri version, which I will be going over in another video as to why it is the Shuri version and as to why certain X-Men aren't in the game, which will be pretty interesting because not only do the devs and the game itself explain this, and we'll be going over all of that in the next upcoming video. But back to the main topic. Now, we also have the Sanctum Sanctorum on here. Who does that tease? Well, the Sanctum Sanctorum is the home base of Doctor Strange. So, with Wakanda being pretty much a tease for Black Panther, we could also take the Sanctum Sanctorum as a pretty big hint at Doctor Strange being confirmed for the game. As for the Hellfire Gala, that one I'm still kind of thinking on, so we'll circle back to that one in a moment. However, we also have some characters you notice being spoiled up here, those being Scarlet Witch and Magneto. And these fit pretty perfectly for talking about the villain team. Now, Magneto obviously makes a great antagonist for the X-Men team. So now we have the Avengers antagonist, the Spider-Man antagonist, and the X-Men antagonist. But who does that leave for Ghost Rider's team? Now this one had me a little stumped, but it is a possibility that Scarlet Witch is on the villains team, since she has been presented as an antagonist various times throughout the comics and even within the films, such as Multiverse of Madness, and she was even kind of viewed as an antagonist in WandaVision. Aside from that, the comics have several times on top of that, House of M, all of that, in which she was the villain. And since she is kind of a representative of mystical things, she could be a great antagonist for the supernatural side of things for Ghost Rider's team. But I'm not 100% sold on that, because Scarlet Witch also has the potential of being here with the Ghost Rider team. Now, with the Hellfire Gala being a tease, it kind of got me thinking maybe Emma Frost as the female antagonist for the Supernatural team. I feel like she doesn't fit as well for that because she's usually more closely related to Magneto and thus being an antagonist for the X-Men. But that doesn't mean she can't end up being on there. But if Scarlet Witch does stay here, then who would the rest of the characters for the Ghost Rider team be? Well, we had some hints for that also not too long ago on this previous tease that we got at the end of the Amazing Guardians trailer, where we got the Wanda teasing Scarlet Witch. Then we also had the marshmallow roasting on a stick, a duck, and this red star within a circle. Now, which characters could those represent? As for the red star, there's a lot of people, including myself, who strongly believe that's hinting towards the Winter Soldier being in the game. And since there's no room on Cap's team, he would probably, and I don't think he'd be an antagonist for the Ghost Rider team, so I think he would fall onto the Ghost Rider team. Then there's the problem of the marshmallow roasting on a stick, as well as the duck. Now, initially, the marshmallow roasting on a stick, I thought referred to Deadpool, because there is a figure that exists, an official figure, in which Deadpool is roasting a marshmallow over Ghost Rider's head. It's a pretty funny looking figure, but then there was the problem of the yellow duck we saw. And that got me thinking, well, maybe the last character for Ghost Rider's team is Howard the Duck. But then I was thinking, that would be a little weird, because I believe the devs brought up that each team would at least have one female. And if you were to put Howard the Duck on here, now having just a pure guy team isn't completely out of the question. But if we are to assume, that every team is going to have at minimum one female per team, that would mean both him and Howard the Duck couldn't be on the team at the same time unless they do something pretty wild. And I could see Arxus doing this. I don't know how happy people would be about it, but there is a comic story in which Deadpool and Howard the Duck fuse together and become Deadpool the Duck. I could see Arxus incorporating the two of them together in this way, because the story did have the two of them somehow end up fused together, as you see here. This is a legit thing in the comics. And we are missing that one really weird, wacky character in the roster, and Deadpool the Duck would fit it perfectly, and it seems like a very Arxis move to do it. And it also leaves room for a female to be on the team. Personally, I'm still hoping that female is Elsa Bloodstone, the gun-toting monster killer, who has a bit of magic to her as well. And that would be my prediction for the Ghost Rider team. Now, if Scarlet Witch does end up placed on the Ghost Rider team, I'm not entirely sure who the villain could be. I'm kind of blanking on some big, supernatural, mystical female villains that it could be. I suppose you could do Hela, but that would make more sense if you had Thor as, a team leader. But I guess she could work. Or, oh gosh, what's her name? You could also have Dormammu's daughter, although I don't know if she's necessarily a villain. But personally, I'm hoping we get the kind of father-daughter combo on the villain team, and then get Elsa Bloodstone here on Ghost Rider. Now, I'm not completely sold on that myself, but there is another issue that arises from this. And that is, what about the Sanctum Sanctorum being in the game? Oh, shit. That means we would have to put Doctor Strange here and have our first all-guy team, which is also a possibility. You just put the weird, wacky character along with Winter Soldier and Ghost Rider. So there could be that. Or we could end up with this. Who knows? Elsa could end up here, and maybe the Sanctum Sanctorum is hinting at Doctor Strange being one of the first DLC characters, since there are 4 coming soon after the game's release. Now, with that said, I think we'll stop it there. These are the characters we are kind of sold on being in the game based off the spoilers and theories that people have. And with the hints that we've gotten, this seems to be highly likely for who's remaining. With the Ghost Rider team being a little iffy with the Deadpool the Duck thing. But definitely some version of Deadpool is going to be in this game. I'm pretty sure. At least 90% sure. And with those spoilers proving that Black Panther was true alongside of Wakanda, there's a good chance those spoilers were pretty accurate on what we see here. With that said, Mr. Howery, out.